Hello, I'm Jonathan Bowman-Perks and welcome to my favourite time of the week. I'm very fortunate I have Fiona Lambert with me, who we worked together 6 years ago, and we're going to be talking about inspiring leadership tips and techniques as part of the Inspiring Leadership series. So Fiona, tell us a bit about the role you're doing now and all the different roles you've done. Just a little, minute.
Nutshell. Okay, so I've wanted to be in fashion from age 11. I was very lucky to start my career right in the very early days of Next, and then started Georgia ASDA with the founder of Georgia ASDA, and then I'm very lucky now to have my dream job actually. So I'm getting the opportunity to start a brand of my own from scratch.
Wow!
It's backed by the family that own River Island, but I've got the great opportunity as managing director of Harpenne. To have recruited a team, designed a brand, designed the whole concept behind it, and for a gap in the market, and we launched 3 months ago. So it's a baby. It's my new baby. Yeah.
And you're a true entrepreneur. And we were talking earlier when we had a chat beforehand about who inspired you, who you found as inspiring leadership. I think you mentioned your parents. Do you want to say a bit about why?
Yeah. So they definitely have clearly shaped me. So they're both very hardworking, very humble. They got married and had no money, and both of them couldn't afford to go to university. So they subsequently worked and learnt and did further education. So they're always wanting to better themselves. So that constant learning, I think, is something I've always wanted to do myself as well, and have the hunger for that.
Yeah.
And I think very much as a child, they didn't sort of wrap me in cotton wool or anything. I think if I was faced with any decisions, they would talk me through the options, the possible outcomes of the decisions, but then allow me to make the decision myself. And I think that certainly gave me that empowerment, and I always try to use that, because I think the opportunity to have a go, make a mistake and feel like you're being supported if you make the mistake, but as long as you learn from it and grow from it, it's a great thing to do. So I think certainly them bringing me up, it wasn't a sort of tell and do management style, and certainly I don't do a tell and do management style. I want people to feel empowered and have the opportunity to have a go. If it goes well, it's brilliant. If it's a mistake, just learn from it.
Brilliant. We'll talk about that later. And you also mentioned someone else who was inspiring to you. Do you want to talk about them?
Yes, so as I mentioned, I started my career at Next in the very early days of Next, and the gentleman who founded it was a guy called George Davies, and he founded Next, he founded Georgia ASDA, and he founded Peruna M&S. So, an incredibly inspiring entrepreneurial person to work with. And I was very lucky when he left Next and started Georgia ASDA. He asked me to go and join him. And I laugh now, actually, because I say he phoned me up and said, would you like to come and start a team with me to start this new brand? I can't tell you who it's for. I can't tell you what it's about. But it's an amazing opportunity, to start a new brand from scratch. And I thought, well, this is the guy that started Next. How many opportunities as a young woman am I going to get a chance to do that? So
what sort of age were you then?
I was 26, so that was the start of Georgia ASDA, which was, it was the first supermarket clothing brand.
Yeah.
And he has been incredible in finding gaps in the market. And as I said, I learned from him very much about. I keep saying actually, a lot of businesses focus on the margin and the accounts, which is great, it has to be done. But you don't sell margin; you sell great product that's focused on the customer, and that's what he taught me. If you're absolutely focused on the customer, give them the very best deal that you can give them. They know that and they recognise that. And aside from that, he had such a vision and real charisma actually, and a can-do attitude that it swept everybody along, and he could talk to anybody about it and inspire them, whether it was somebody on the shop floor or a manufacturer or one of his team. And so actually everybody believed in that vision and would follow him because he was so clear about it.
Great. And then the other thing, because great people make mistakes as well, and you've made your own mistakes over the years. But what have you learned from when things haven't worked out, or making mistakes, or being indecisive? What's your tip you'd share with others from your own experience?
Well, it's an interesting career being in fashion because it's not very predictable. It's not, it's not a mathematical equation. So I've had my career where I've had to make a decision whether it's long or is it short, or is it going to be a dress, or is it going to be a trouser season, or is it going to be knitwear, and is it going to be about casual coats? So my whole career is based on a very loose decision-making process, and it has to be a combination of experience and gut instinct. But the reassuring thing is actually, if you're never getting it all right, you're going to hopefully, if you've got a good career, get it 85, 90% right. But going into it knowing you're not going to get it all right and you will make a mistake does make the decision quickly, because you can't overthink and spend too long in fashion because it changes so fast.
Yes.
So it's better to make a decision and learn from it than not make any decision at all.
Brilliant.
And I'm obviously working with my team on decision making. I had a recent example as well of having started a new business. We were trying to find a new logistics supplier, and we were faced with two suppliers who were equally good actually, but slightly different strengths. And the chap on my team was talking about it, and he was a bit paralysed because they're both equally good and didn't know which way to go. And I actually just said to him, look, if that's the issue, there is no wrong decision. So don't worry about it.
That's brilliant.
You have to make a decision. So I said gut instinct. One's a more formed business. Going to be operationally very good. The other one's more agile and probably more of a startup like us. So my gut decision is to go with that. But I still have to think about it. But feel reassured if they're so close. Don't overthink it. There's no wrong decision.
Very wise. No, that's so true. I see so many leaders that I know, and they get paralysed by indecision. They're trying to be perfect, and no plan survives the first meeting with the enemy. So failing to plan is planning to fail, but at least have a plan and be prepared to adapt. And then finally, what would be the top tip you would leave with our listeners today?
Well, I have to thank you for that, actually. So I think I've worked with some brilliant leaders actually, but they all have very different strengths to me, and I probably looked at good leadership looking like them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were probably very analytical, more process-led, and I'm very much, I suppose, a creative and probably quite intuitive about what I do. And I think working with you, I suddenly realised actually I've got some great strengths that are very different to them.
Yeah.
And to celebrate those and have a great team around you that support you in the things that you're not great at actually. But you don't have to be good at everything, and you don't have to be a leader in the mould of anybody else. And accepting who I was and what my strengths were was actually a turning point for me, and I came away much more authentic, I think, because of it, because I was happy in my own skin and accepted that I was good at those things and could celebrate them. Yeah,
no, and you are very talented, and seeing you play to those strengths, I think it's important for us all. There's all sorts of things I'm awful at, but there's some things I'm meant to do, and one of them is to be interesting leaders like you. So Fiona, thank you very much for your time. Really great. Congratulations on the work you're doing.